In the area, we have happening at this moment a diver team from Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, and they have been in the water for probably right at 2 hours now, searching a pond that's right at 800 yards from where the child lives at. So we haven't located anything from that particular search, but at the same time it's going very slow, and it's still right at the beginning stages as far as the area of the pond that they've covered. The other teams, we have extended the area of the search over to Smyrna Church Bridge area, and we have a K9 unit over there at this time doing a search. We're still processing information as it comes in from social media, personal contact, and also cell phone conversations. And so far, the information that we've received, that we've actually sent detectives out to investigate. The information hasn't provided any information that would put us any closer right at this moment of locating Raul Johnson at this time. We're doing everything we can. There's still right at 200 personnel, the ground units, the aerial search, surveillance or coverage has ceased right at this moment due to them having to refuel and so forth, and we just continue to do all we can.
Sheriff, do you think she might have been abducted? I'm sorry, I apologize. Raul might have been abducted.
As the evidence, as information is coming into the sheriff's office, we've looked at every type of situation that could have taken place if the child actually wandered off, if the child was picked up from the location there near the residence, or if a family member has moved the child and they're just not being forthcoming on that information. The problem right now is because of how active social media is when somebody receives something, by the time it goes through a channel of 3 or 4 people, they've changed the whole information that they actually received, and we're trying to keep the family posted and updated at home by I have, as I stated earlier this morning, we have a detective that is assigned to stay in contact with the mother, provide her what information we could that would not hinder what we're trying to do on our side as far as locating the child. So we haven't ruled out anything that could have taken place, and as much as I'd hate to say this, and as much time as we've already put into this, and it's surely worth the time, if it comes down to where the child has been moved to another location by a family member, I could not be more happier than to know that the outcome of that child could be what we surely don't want to happen. And so we're continuing the process, everything as it comes in, and every piece of information that does come, somebody is on it. I just left the pond where the diver team is, and they're doing their job. just like I would expect them to, as I've seen them do before. While I was there was probably 2 or 3 pieces of information that came in where detectives went in different directions. People calling in about their finding a piece of clothing that could be from his pajamas to where that they saw this kid, or they saw the child. We had one to come in and said that they saw the child at Walmart last evening at dark, and we've already been to Walmart and pulled those video surveillance cameras, everything off of that, and we haven't been able to confirm that the child was there with the description that they gave us.
Sheriff, have you had calls to this house in the past? Calls for service?
Yes, sir. We have had some calls to the residents of where the child resides, and we've have that home is made up of several family members, and they're not all related. There's probably 5 or 6 family members that actually lives in that house, and at some point in time we have had calls to where a deputy has responded to to that home in reference to one of those adults that live in that home.
Sheriff, earlier you said it wasn't any signs of foul play. Is that still the case now?
At this moment, yes, sir. There's nothing that we have found in the interviews that we've done with the family members, with the next door neighbors, with the information that's been provided from the public that would indicate that we're dealing with foul play. And we're following the information that's been, the most reliable information that we have had is information that has been given to us by our K9. We did have a location in the county, in that general location where the divers are right at this moment, that all 3 K9s at different times of the day yesterday that started at the child's home, that took the same course to the location of where the divers are now. But that's all we have. Nothing's been discovered from the divers of where they are at that location. But it will bring some tremendous satisfaction to me is once we complete this process of where they're at and we can move forward, is what I'm praying for, is that we can move forward and continue to treat this as a search rescue.
Are you still accepting volunteers?
Right at this moment, we have ceased. We have plenty that have left this location and went to the command post location that are stationary there waiting to be assigned to a team. This afternoon, sometime around 7 p.m., we'll be replacing a lot of police officers with some that are going to be arriving at that time. They will have to do just like everyone else, even our civilians, private citizens that are actually helping. They will come to this place first so we can get the proper paperwork filled out on them so we know who's out there. And once they leave, they turn that card back in so we know that we can clear them from the location and nobody's been left out in an area that we've searched. I can say this, I said it earlier this morning, we were searching a 2-mile radius based on the child's age, and if he was traveling on foot, barefooted, and this is the case, he was barefooted, of how far he could actually travel if he left a roadway and entered off the road into a wooded area. And we came up with that 2-mile radius, especially last night, as cold as it was going to be, and assuming and believing, as I stated earlier this morning, even though he's 4 years old, instinct that when we get cold, we drop our way, provide warmth. And of course, Crestline Road has several places surrounding his home that are not just hay fields, but those homeowners have livestock. They have buildings, bales of hay, and that was our hope, was if the child did find one of those locations, based on how cold it was last night, and if he was not wet or did not get wet from falling into the water or it raining, of course that didn't happen, that he could survive from the cold itself. And so far, with all the aerial searches that have taken place, we broke that area of Crestline Road down into 8 sections. We have cleared right at 5 sections with aerial surveillance searches, ground searches, and canine searches, and we have not located anyone in that area. So we have right at 3 more areas left to search, and depending on the outcome of that, and depending on the outcome of the divers, which just doesn't include the pond that there are at right at this moment. We have a canal that we're checking that is close by, and then there's several other little small ponds along Crestline Road that we're also going to be searching. So until we get some type of indication that there's no hope, that we've received some type of information that the child did not leave on foot, but he was either abducted or he was moved some other way by a motor vehicle, then we're going to continue to do what we're doing now.
How draining is it on the community?
I'm sorry?
How draining is it on the community?
Well, I know we are going to reach a place where, because it always happens, I've done this now for 35 years, that family members are going to get frustrated, neighbors are going to get frustrated, the public's going to get frustrated, and they're thinking that you're not doing enough, you're not moving fast enough. And what happens is when you move fast, you miss something. And I explained this morning. When we broke those 8 sections into to be searched by those sections, we created teams, and each team consists of 8 members that are law enforcement officers, and 1 or 2 of those members are certified in tracking. Now, the team that is helping us, the tracking team that is helping us, this is all they do. They travel from state to state, wherever they're needed, that's where they go. They do this for a living, and the reason why we set the teams up that way is because the initial approach needed to be where we didn't put a lot of people into the area and then destroy evidence. So by putting the 8-man team into these areas first, which is what we call a hasty search, they moved fast, really faster than a group of people. They know what they're looking for that probably you or I would miss. A broken limb, a footprint, which is what we have discovered. Evidence like that. The normal search that a person does is normally from waist up, and trying to convince people that when you're looking for someone, especially a small child, they could be laying anywhere up under anything. We experienced this years ago when a child was abducted in Rayford, and the locating the child went very quickly, but the child was placed in a covered area. So the team goes through, they look for evidence. If we don't locate anything with a hasty search, we come back with what's called an efficient search, where the team goes back through. They move at a slower pace, but at a pace fast enough and slow enough to where they can make spaced out further. So they do that search, and if they do not locate there on that particular search, we come back with what's called a thorough search, and that's what we're using our civilian personnel for, is that's when we're lining everybody up side to side, and you're just doing a sweep. I can assure you that if we would have started these searches, and we would have done so with the citizens of the county, outside the county, showing up and us going in the areas looking for this child, we would not have the little bit of evidence that we have at this moment. So,
how many volunteers did you finally reach before you decided to stop taking on more?
We probably have right at 100 at this moment at the sheriff's, at the CP, and that's plenty. There's enough for the guys to take a break, send another unit out, and continue to do what they do best.
So what's next? Just continue like you've been doing?
All the teams will have another meeting at 5 o'clock. We'll share the information that the K-9 units have discovered, any evidence that the K-9 teams have discovered or not discovered, the ground units, what they have, if they've located anything or not. Hopefully the diver team will be at a place where we can get a feel from that. I noticed as I came over here, I saw another diver team come in, because we do have a pond or two we want to check also. And so we're at a place right now within this 2-mile radius. We haven't completed it. If we don't locate anything that indicates that the child wandered off, I'm sure that we'll make a decision whether we want to outreach it a little further, not just as information is coming in, but just go ahead and continue to do what we do and truly shift it maybe to maybe some information that's come in between now and then. It takes a toll on me. It takes a toll on me. It's discouraging. You're trying to think of everything that you can do, the things that you haven't done. What have you missed? If you've missed anything, is the family being completely open with you? They haven't led me in that direction, or any of us in that direction. If something comes in and it has to do with anything that someone shares with us about them, then someone is there, they're on it, they're talking with them. And then if something comes in about a location, we go there. These are a large percentage of these type of events. If they're not located based on all the equipment all the training, whether it's the canine dogs, whether it's your specialty is tracking and you're using your drones and your aerial surveillance and searches, then normally it's going to be brought to light by somebody in the community that knows something that just won't step out and tell us. As I said this morning, the child has wandered off before, not very far. Matter of fact, this happened Tuesday morning, the morning before Wednesday, where the child was missing somewhere around 25 minutes. But the granddad located the child at a neighbor's house, and they returned home. It's, folks, you know what it's like. If you have to, it's our job to protect. You have to take care of it. You have to watch your own kids. Child wanders off. Once, twice. We're talking to the neighbors. If it's happening a lot, then bad things is going to happen to your children. My understanding from the conversations that I've talked with from my detectives, that these children wander a lot. And now we're trying to do all we can to find them. Good?
Thank you.